What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Julia, and if you're not new here and you really truly know me, then this does not come as a shock to anyone. But yeah, long story short, I went on a run the other day because it was 76 and sunny. Rolled my ankle really bad, but right before crossing a crosswalk, tripped on a chunk of concrete, rolled my ankle, it snapped super loud, almost threw up because of the pain and the sound combined. Went to the doctor the next day. I have an avulsion fracture and super bad ankle sprain. I'm in this boot for the next 2 weeks. If it's still hurting and not getting any better, by then I am getting an MRI, but I've been doing my rehab and all my mobility stuff, hoping that it heals on its own. But that's the ankle update. Other than that, this video is gonna be a fun little fall meal prep kind of shindig. So I'm gonna share some of my favorite super simple healthy recipes with you guys. I'll probably make some chicken noodle soup, a white chicken chili. I would make my spicy turkey chili, but I showed it to you guys in a previous video. I think it was one of my what I eat in a days. I'll maybe make some turkey meat sauce, maybe a fall like pumpkin bread kind of thing, and talk to you guys about how I do my veggies, because it's super simple. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the kitchen. Okay, when it comes to my meal prep, I just prep a ton of different meals. That way I have variety in my meals throughout the week, so I'm not eating the same thing every single day. And I went to the grocery store earlier and got all the ingredients that I need, and I will be including recipes for all of these meals, but just a warning, I don't measure anything, so it'll all kind of be like approximations. But we are gonna start with my healthy chicken noodle soup. It is super simple. All you need are some diced onions, garlic, carrots, celery, low sodium chicken broth, chicken breast, and then I use egg noodles, but you can use whatever noodles you would like. And then the only seasonings I put in it are pepper and parsley. So let's get dicing some veggies. Okay, so everything is prepped and chopped up. The first thing I do for my chicken noodle soup is I have it in a big pot. That was way too much. Anyway, a tiny drizzle of olive oil, and then I add in all the veggies, carrots, once again, don't measure anything, celery, onion, my hands are clean. We have this thing of minced garlic, a decent amount, I don't really know. Put that in there. A ton of parsley, add that flavor, and then some black pepper, and then you turn that on, and I just let that saute in the pot while I cook the chicken. So in this front pan, I'm gonna be cooking all of this chicken breast. I will be using half of it for the chicken noodle soup and then the other half for the white chicken chili. Typically I use 2 32-ounce things of chicken broth for each, but I'm gonna split it and do 1.5 for each because I only have 3, and that way there's not a ton of stuff in the fridge. That's sauteing, I'm gonna cook this chicken. Okay, while that is all cooking, I'm gonna multitask and I'm gonna brown up my lean ground turkey in my third pan over here. The lean ground turkey is for my turkey pasta meat sauce. My chicken is almost done cooking and the lean ground turkey is browning in the pan. And since lean ground turkey isn't as flavorful as ground beef, I tend to add a lot more seasonings to it, and I add salt, pepper, garlic powder, and hot red pepper flake. And then I also do add a little bit of the Italian seasoning, so let's do that. And then depending on the pasta sauce you use, which sometimes make homemade pasta sauce, sometimes I use like a store-bought one. I'm using a store-bought one today just because I had one in the cupboard, but sometimes I do add onion powder, and since I know that the sauce I have is super simple, I am going to add some onion powder. Once all your ground turkey is browned in the pan, then you can grab your homemade pasta sauce or any jarred pasta sauce. Just make sure that it doesn't have sugar in it. This is just an organic one that I actually found at Aldi, and it's literally just organic tomatoes, organic dried garlic, onion powder, basil, oregano. Super simple and organic, and I'm just gonna throw this in the pan with my ground turkey. And then you just mix it all together. And then I usually cover it with a lid and let it simmer for 30 minutes at least, just so all the flavors can really, like, you know, soak in. Marinate, I don't know. I prefer my homemade sauce, but this will do. I just realized I forgot the Italian seasoning. I don't actually have a lid that fits on this pan, so I do some like janky stuff. You'll see. I grab a big lid and 2 knives, and I put one on either side of the pan on the edge, and then put the lid over top. It doesn't exactly cover the whole thing, but it's better than no lid at all. So like I said, I'm just gonna put that on simmer and let it sit for about 30 minutes. Oh, and by the way, the recipe for my super simple homemade meat sauce with lean ground turkey is right here. Now let's get back to the chicken noodle soup. Okay, I'm really sorry if you can hear the washer in the background, but this has been sauteing the whole time. You have to be careful not to burn the garlic, but as you just saw, I shredded all of that chicken. So I'm gonna add half of the chicken because the other half is going in the white chicken chili, and then 1.5 things of chicken broth. So basically everything is prepped for the white chicken chili. So once this soup is done simmering, then that white chicken chili will be super simple to throw together. That feels about halfway. Another thing, you might be wondering, where are the noodles in this chicken noodle soup? A hack. If you don't want the noodles to suck up the broth, because they tend to do that over time, cook your noodles separately and then add them as you eat the soup. So I always cook my noodles completely separate and then add them once I heat up my individual bowl of soup. So there's a little hack for you if you want your broth to go farther. And you can also add a little bit of water. I sometimes do that if I'm running low on chicken broth. So I'm gonna cover this soup and then let that simmer for 30 minutes. The meat sauce is done simmering, so soup time. Okay, now for this pumpkin bread, I actually am going to be following a recipe that I found on Pinterest. I'm testing this out to see if I like it enough to make it for Thanksgiving. Hopefully this paleo pumpkin bread is delicious. I also don't have a normal like banana bread loaf, so I'm using this small one, so it may overflow, but we'll see. Now I'm gonna pop this in the oven for 45 to 50 minutes, and if it starts to turn brown, then it says to cover it with tin foil for the rest of the time. I did a ton of dishes. The paleo pumpkin bread is in the oven. As you just saw, I put the meat sauce and the chicken noodle soup in their Tupperware containers, and now this pot is free to make the last thing, my white bean chicken chili. So I make this super spicy. Now everything is already prepped. Just like the chicken noodle soup, we start by doing a drizzle of olive oil in the bottom of the pan, onions and celery. So I just chopped up 2 more stalks of celery and a little bit of onion. Turn that on a simmer for those to saute for a bit. We do add a little bit more garlic. Let that saute. And then for this one, I like to add black pepper, garlic powder, and then a ton of the spicy stuff. So this is cayenne pepper, chili powder, and a little bit of paprika. And then I literally add hot pepper flakes to everything that I eat. Those. And then we just kind of let this saute and cook for a little bit so that the celery gets a little softer. Okay, those have been cooking. I drained and rinsed my can of cannellini beans, and I'm adding those to the pot, as well as the rest of the cooked chicken that I already had prepared. And then the last thing is just to add the chicken broth. So here's one 32-ounce carton. And then we have the other half of the first carton. I can already tell that this batch is going to be very spicy because of the dark red color. I may have added a little bit too much chili powder, but I love spicy. Sometimes I do add diced jalapenos to this. I think I'm all out. If not, I will be adding some. But other than that, all that's left to do is put the lid on and let this simmer for 30 minutes. So I'll have the recipe for this one right here. Once again, no specific measurements. It's kind of just how you like it, adjust as needed. And we are finally done. We have our turkey meat sauce, lean ground turkey meat sauce, our chicken noodle soup without the noodles because we add those afterwards, and then our white chicken chili, super spicy, and the paleo pumpkin bread. I have not tried it yet, but we're about to find out. So all in all, I think all 4 of these meals took less than 2 hours to make, and that added like extra time having to video it. So it probably takes like an hour and 15 minutes to make all of these, as long as you multitask like I did. I'm about to try this paleo pumpkin bread and see how it is. I did add a tiny bit of coconut sugar to it to make it a little bit sweeter, but we shall see. Well, that was a complete fail trying to get this out of the pan, and a great representation of how impatient I am, but let's try it. It's really hot. So much better than the pumpkin cookies I made the other day. A thumbs up from me. Okay, and that is all for my 4 favorite fall recipes right now. Just know that I don't only eat those 4 recipes. I typically save those prepared meals for my lunches. Since I am typically busier around lunchtime, it's easy to just open the fridge and heat up one of those. And then for breakfast and dinner, I do cook fresh meals. When it comes to veggies, I don't like leftover vegetables because they're always soggier and never as good as when you make them fresh. And for my veggies, I usually buy a ton of frozen veggies like broccoli, green beans, edamame, peppers, onions, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, all that stuff. I usually just buy it frozen. That way it doesn't go bad. And it's just so easy to throw in a pan and either steam it up or saute it. And that's how I prefer my veggies. So that's the way I cook them. I did want to mention that lately I have been loving my ground turkey meat sauce with either zoodles or spaghetti squash. So I typically stick to zoodles, spaghetti squash, lentil or chickpea pasta, and then rice noodles. But right now I have a ton of spaghetti squash and zoodles in the fridge, so that's probably what I'll be eating with the sauce that I just made. And honestly, those 4 things that I prepped might last me more than a week, just since I only eat them for lunch. It's just nice to have that stuff already prepared if I am in a rush or don't feel like cooking. But yeah, it was also nice to cook because it kind of gave me something to do. I've been super bored since I've been in this boot. I still work since I can walk, but I just do my ankle rehab, do some stretching, and then if I do work out, it's usually like core and maybe some upper body, but I'm just trying to kind of chill and give my ankle some time to heal on its own, hoping that it can heal on its own. That would be amazing. But yeah, other than that, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you try out some of these recipes. Sorry that I don't measure anything, but it's just so much easier that way. I don't know. I don't like measuring. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.